Hey, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at how to build out our list of comparable sold properties. And the reason why I want to do this again is because there's been a lot of action in the 10-year yield. Okay. If you follow and you understand how the 30-year mortgage interest rates are affected they're affected by two things. One is the interest rate on the 10-year treasury yield and the spread between the 10-year yield and the 30-year mortgage interest rates. Historically, that spread has been about 1.5 to 2%, but it's gone as high as 3% when interest rates got up to the eights. So as you can see, if you look at the current stats, right, we peaked at 4.8-ish. We peaked again at 4.8-ish in January 2025. We had a low in the last 12 months in around September and October and 3.6. So retreating from the peak of 4.8, it's gone back down to 4.3 right now, which is almost half a point lower, right? So if you're pursuing a BRRRR strategy, which stands for buy, rehab, rent, refinance, and repeat, your goal is, let's use an example, right? Let's say you buy a property for $20,000 cash and you spend $50,000, 50, on renovating the home, and you're able to make it worth $100,000. Well, that allows you to go get a DSCR, a debt service coverage ratio loan, to refinance your property after it's built for 70% of the home's value. So if you're able to make that property worth $100,000, right, 20 grand plus 50, so you're on at 70, but now you created $30,000 of equity between the $70,000 investment to the $100,000 value. Well, now you can essentially get back out $7,000 in the form of loan proceeds, leave $30,000 in the property as equity, and now you essentially have been able to recuperate all your initial invested capital. And now you can take the same $70,000 and use it over and over and over again towards the next property. So the reason we look at properties that are coming on the market today is because if you bought a property and let's say you bought in September, right, and you were refinancing, well, chances are your comps might be properties that were sold in September and October when the 10-year yield were at its lowest. So monthly payments are lower. So it drives up the prices and drives up affordability. Versus right now, if you were to buy a property today, right, you might be using comps that are being sold today within the last 2 months when the 10-year yield were at its highs. So that might drive down your prices, drive down affordability because your monthly payments are higher. So that's why you got to pay attention, and you might need more room or more cushion in how you're estimating your ARV. Okay. So I am looking at properties that are 4 bedroom plus. I am looking at properties that have been on the market for less than 3 days on Redfin. And I came across this property for $143,000. This is a 4 bed, 2 bath, 1,600 square feet, which is exactly sort of the properties that you would look for, right? Two bathrooms are great, 1,600 square feet, that's a good size. Well, this property is being listed for $143,000 roughly, right? So my first goal with this property is, all right, if you've been tracking what we've been doing, we've been tracking all the properties by zip code, by bath count, square footage, year built, sold price, price per square foot, sold date, lot size, garage, basement, HOA, just some characteristics about that market that might be unique to you. For example, if you're in Phoenix, almost every home has a pool. So if you don't have a pool, it might lower the value of your home. Then I know the subdivisions about the property, and I know there's some comments about the kitchen, the bath, the paint, flooring, just general cosmetic notes for myself. And as I exhausted that list, I've started tracking properties that are being listed or sold in the last few months. And now I'm tracking properties that are coming onto the market most recently. So if I go to 35211, I want to track this property and see what's happening in the zip code because I need to see what this property closes for. Because on a dollar per square foot perspective, if this property is able to achieve its target of $89 a square foot, I mean, this almost becomes my new quote unquote ceiling, right? Because 4 bed, 2 bath, 1,600 square feet, that's probably the ideal square footage. I don't see that much of a premium being taking place for properties over 600 square feet. And obviously, I'm still going to care about those factors, right? Like when is the year built? This is 1925. This is $143,000. So, on a dollar per square foot perspective, $89 per square foot. This property was listed 3 days ago, so it's listed 3.6. A lot size on this property is 6969, 6969. There's a garage on this property. Let's take a quick look. no garage, no basement, no joy. Let's see what subdivision this is in. I'm just going to click on this map. I'm going to zoom out. And I see this is closest to West End. Great. All right, in West End, not West End Manor, West End. West End Manor is down here. But now I see all my West End Manors, $82 square foot, $90 per square foot. Does this property sell for $152? This property sold for $152 on August 7, 2024. So I can see that it's in general holding relatively still at $90 a square foot. So now I know, hey, if this property sells to $80 per square foot, then it's not really being affected by the interest rates. And that's why this is so important for me to figure out what's going on in the market. Because if I look at the condition of this home, I mean, in general, this property is in pretty good shape. I mean, it's relatively turnkey. You had to put in a refrigerator in there. Oh, there's a refrigerator. So, I mean, you're pretty much good here. All right. So here's what we're going to do next. I'm going to analyze this deal as is. $143,000. So you can see, how do you check whether or not this property is worth your time? Now for this property, I am going to put in a little bit of items here, like I'm going to put in a cage for HVAC, because I've recently got a HVAC system stolen before, and it costs about $900 to put in that cage. Versus if you lose the HVAC, it costs you anywhere from $5,000 to $8,000, $9,000 to replace the HVAC. So just be very careful. I'm gonna replace 2 of the toilets with high pressure flush toilets because I don't want any clogged toilets. I'm not gonna pay anything because it looks all good. I don't need to do any paint work or flooring work. So I'm pretty good with this property. I got $500 for some landscaping to keep it tied until it's rent ready. And then I got $1,500 for the roof in case there's anything I can't see from the roof, in case there's any patching issues, just because I ran into that every single property. Now for my rents, if I go to affordablehousing.com and I type in the address and I type in the bedroom count, I can see that the average rent for 25 units within that 1.44 mile radius is $1,322. So I'll put $1,322 right here as my rent. Might be a little higher, might be a little lower, but I'm just being conservative here. I want to grab my taxes and my insurance. 63 right here. And then my insurance is going to be 111 times 1.2. So that's going to equals to 133.2. All right. So now at 10% set aside for maintenance every single month, right? This is just in case for future repairs, because I know the roof is going to get replaced at some point, 10, 15, 20, 25 years. Same thing for my HVAC, same thing for my water heater. And if you don't set aside the money right now for those expenses, you're going to be overestimating your expenses because you are underestimating. I mean, you're going to be overestimating your profitability because you're underestimating your expenses. Excuse me. Don't be that person, right? Don't be that person that lies to yourself that about how much money you're making when in reality there's all these big capital expenditure items that's going to take place. All right, so then I got property management expenses, 5% for vacancy because eventually the house is going to be empty. For my down payment, I'm going to put 25% here. So my down payment is going to equal to B4 times my down payment percentage in F19. My financing amount is going to be equal to B4 minus my down payment in E19. So I'll be financing 107. And I got a 7.5% interest rate on this. So roughly, if those are my scenarios, right, 1322, where's a 4-bedroom, I can cash for $45 a month, and that's a 1.4% return on my capital, assuming I buy this product for 143 with a $35 rehab and 25% down and 7.5% interest rate. So let's say if I want to make a deal and my target return is 10%, right? Again, this is not investment advice. I'm not soliciting any investments on this call. Just simply showing you how to determine your purchase price that fits your criteria. Because some people might say, hey, I don't care about cash flow, I care about appreciation. Because who cares if I don't make cash flow? If I'm buying $1 million property and it goes up 5% every single year, that's $50,000 in wealth every year, right? Whole different ballgame. So, the asking price. If I lower this to $100,000, now all of a sudden I'm at 11%. So maybe my max price that I'll pay for this property is 105, assuming everything else stays constant, because that's a 9.9% return. So this would be a deal, quote unquote, at 105. Yeah, not still seeing any investments on this call. Just showing you all how to put in the numbers to figure out when it's a deal for yourself. Now I'm gonna do one more scenario. Let's say your interest rate dropped down to 6%, right? We're just talking about this. Pay attention to the 10-year yield. That should increase my cash and cash return. So now I might be willing to pay $118,000 because that still rounds to 10%. So just because my interest rates drop from 7.5 to 6%, 25% down, $3,500 rehab, I am now willing to pay $13,000 more for the same property because it still achieves the same target return I was looking for, assuming I can get 1322 right. All right, so hopefully this was helpful for everybody. My goal with this was to show you how to adjust the numbers, adjust the leverage so that you can figure out what's the deal for you. All right, so hopefully this is helpful. My goal is this. I hope you copy my homework today, right? Look at the same deal I analyzed today using the same spreadsheet. If you guys want to copy the spreadsheet, just go to affordablehousing.io, go to the Get Deal Analysis tool, plug your name, email, your phone number. That's the fastest way to get a copy of the spreadsheet. And again, I hope you start your own YouTube channel because at some point someone's going to ask you, hey, why do you think this is a deal? And you can tell them, hey, I've been looking at deals for the past 527 days. Might that give you some confidence you know what you're doing? I certainly hope so. All right, I hope you all have an amazing Sunday. Spend some quiet time with your family and friends today. That's what life is all about, right? I'll see you all tomorrow for day 528. Have a good one.